What It Takes Radio Company welcomes you to the Transplant Zone. Yes, Gary Register and the Transplant Zone. And today, Gary is eager to get back to helping other people in the zone and everywhere. I'm Stan, and here's a little bit of the story. Greetings, friends. This is Stan Houston once again from the Transplant Zone, along with Gary Register, who has a new heart before Christmas. We are so grateful. Now, a number of you are following this story that we hope will continue for a long time, not just for the sake of Gary, but for the things that we have discovered. First of all, it is just wonderful. Gary is in recovery. He told me he probably might be in the care, the intensive care for 13 days. That was oftentimes normal, but as we saw the other day, just 2 or 3 days afterwards, he's in good shape. I think he's even beginning to do a little walking, and so he probably won't have to do that, which is would be a real blessing. And obviously, can you imagine Gary being quiet and having to just calm down and rest? What has happened is he's gained quite a following of friends and followers, even at the hospital. A number of doctors have said, we really like this idea of the Transplant Zone. We'd like to perhaps be on that program to actually help and encourage people who are thinking about a transplant or are wondering about it or would like to know more about it, or perhaps people who need help in the long-term recovery. And of course, as we say, once you're in the transplant zone for the rest of your life, you are in the transplant zone. So we are hoping that we can continue this program. And so I am waiting. Gary will be back talking soon. I just sent him a message and I said, Gary, we will be thinking about you, praying for you, enjoying whatever you can send us. But when it comes to your wanting to be on the podcast or to make any presentation, we will not contact you. You will let us know when you and Tanya are ready to do that. And that's what we plan to do. So here we go. By the way, these are my funky glasses. I have a grandson who's going to be coming in 2 days. Yes, I can have a grandson. And these are his favorite glasses. He said, Grandpa, you have such old-fashioned glasses. Sometimes you should wear funky glasses, cool glasses. So these are my funky glasses for my grandson Arlo, who's coming from New York City. I can hardly wait for Christmas, because that will be the best gift of all. But I would encourage you now, please, Gary, as many of you know, has been doing helpiwill.com. And he's anxious to get back and do that, raising money for people in distress, raising money for people. He raised lots of revenue and resources and generators. And thanks for the people who were struck by that terrible hurricane flood that came through the western part of our state of North Carolina. He has always been, even through his difficulties, even while he was wearing batteries and that LVAD and all wired up all the time, he's always been involved in helping others. His motto is, how can I help you? And just tell him, what help do you want? And he will do everything he can to make that happen. And of course, what has happened now is we now discover that the Transplant Zone will be a significant part of the work that he will do. So may I encourage you, here we are at Christmas. Obviously, you're being overloaded with requests for donations, and particularly end-of-year donations. But may I just recommend that if you feel this has been worthwhile, and some of you have made some serious commitments to Gary, please, may I encourage you to go to helpiwill.com, helpiwill.com. And Gary is not asking for money to pay for his expenses in the hospital. No, he's asking for help so that he can continue to help others. And if you can do that, help us make the transplant zone an ongoing, very successful outreach and helpful to people, and also continue with the normal everyday needs that Gary runs into. I have actually seen there where someone has just expressed a need and he hardly even knew them. And when he discovered what their need was, he went out and found ways to help them. And oftentimes, right out of his own pocket, almost all the time. So, would you be so kind to spend a little time in thanksgiving and thankful prayer that Gary has come through the surgery well, that obviously that the post recovery will continue to go well with uh, little complications. As he says, there's always some major surgery, but if you could be a part of that, we would be very, very grateful if you could help us at helpiwill.com. I'm Stan for Gary and the many who love him and care for him, and we thank God that at this Christmas time, we've really been able to experience kind of a Christmas miracle in what has happened together in the transplant zone. Till next time, best and blessings, Merry Christmas, and bye for now.